Good afternoon. I'm Earl Weener, a member of the National Transportation Safety Board. Today is the second day of the NTSB's ongoing investigation of the collision of the Congressional Special Train 923, operated by Amtrak, and a refuse collection truck operated by Time Disposal. The crash occurred yesterday, January 31st, at Crozet, Virginia, at approximately 11:20 a.m., as the Amtrak train was traveling southwest on tracks owned by CSX and leased to Buckingham Branch Railroad. The truck traveling on Lanetown Road, which runs parallel to the tracks, turned left to cross the tracks. As the truck traversed the grade crossing, the truck and train collided, causing damage to the truck and damage and a partial derailment of the train. There were hundreds of passengers on board as well as crew on the train, and the truck had a driver and 2 passengers. Multiple people were injured, and we are aware of 1 fatality. On behalf of the NTSB, I'd like to offer our condolences to the families and friends of those affected by this tragic accident. I would now like to ask Deputy Director of our Office of Highway Safety, Dr. Kris Poland, to provide information regarding the parties to the investigation and the party process.
Thank you. Good evening. The NTSB designates other organizations whose employees, functions, activities, or products were involved in the crash as parties to the NTSB investigation. This facilitates the rapid and complete acquisition of all relevant factual information. We've offered party status to the following organizations: Albemarle County Police Department, Virginia State Police, Virginia Department of Transportation, the Federal Railroad Administration, Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, Amtrak, Buckingham Branch Railroad, CSX Railroad, Brotherhood of Railroad Signalmen, International Association of Sheet Metal, Air, Rail, and Transportation Workers, and Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers and Trainmen. We will be working with these organizations during the on-scene and continuing phases of the investigation. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to ask the investigator in charge, IIC, Pete Kotowski, to provide updates regarding the progress so far with the individual working groups. Pete?
Thank you. The on-scene staff will be working in the following specialized areas: highway factors, human performance, motor carrier operations, survival factors, vehicle factors, rail signals, operations, and recorders. Our investigation process is basically a 9-point matrix that involves the examination of the 3 components of a crash. Those components are the environment, the persons involved, and the vehicles, as well as their influence in the pre-crash conditions, the crash itself, and the post-crash conditions. Our investigations are conducted concurrently and in cooperation with the investigating agencies. After we complete our on-scene phase, we will continue to conduct detailed examination of the evidence recovered, laboratory analysis, research issues developed, and a finalization and review process of our reports. A public docket of factual information will be developed and made available to the public through our website. Our investigations take about 12 to 14 months to complete. Our activities today I'll address in each one of the disciplines. Our highway group today, we initiated our on-scene documentation of capturing information and photographs, and we will continue with that in-depth examination of the roadway itself, its design, the crossing geometry, its elevation, and vehicle trajectories of the vehicles involved in the crash. Our human performance group is currently and will examine the driver and train views qualifications, experience, health, and fitness. We have interviewed one of the crew from the Amtrak train today and have scheduled an interview with the engineer. We are in the process of trying to interview the driver of the refuse truck. Our motor carrier operations group met with the carrier today, and they have been very cooperative with us. The carrier was identified as Time Disposal Incorporated of Ruckersville, Virginia. They're a local company providing local services and have been in business for the past 33 years. They have identified and registered with 17 drivers and 15 power units. The company has a drug and alcohol testing program, and the 30-year-old driver has been employed by this company for about 7 years. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration has limited oversight as this is an intrastate carrier. The FMCSA's focus will center on commercial driver's licensing and drug and alcohol testing. The company has been subject to 6 roadside safety inspections, with 2 of them resulting in vehicles being placed out of service, and we are currently reviewing those records at this time. The company has been involved in 2 reportable crashes, one in 2015 and one in 2016. We will continue to review the company records and their operations. Our survival factors group, they conducted the initial examination of the locomotive today while it was still on scene and moved to a temporary location. The locomotives and train cars have now been secured at a location, and we'll be waiting our further inspection and review. The refuse truck was examined at the scene, and a more in-depth examination is to be continued. Our vehicle factors group. Today we documented the involved vehicle, the refuse truck, at its place of rest today. The vehicle is being removed and secured for a more in-depth and detailed examination. We will also be looking at recalls that may have been affected in this with this vehicle. Our rail group. Our truck and track documentation has been completed. Further examination of the electrical components to be examined at our laboratory in Washington, D.C. And as I said before, we've initiated one interview with the train crew already. Our recorders group. This following information is preliminary and is subject to change. This data was received through the trailing locomotive's event data recorder that was successfully downloaded and captured this data at the time of the collision. The data indicated that the train was traveling about 61 miles per hour when the throttle transitioned from full throttle to idle. 1 second later, the locomotive's pneumatic control switch went from closed to open, indicating that the train was in maximum braking configuration. The train came to rest approximately 20 seconds after the throttle went to idle. According to the Federal Railroad Administration and its grade crossing inventory, the maximum timetable speed at this crossing is 60 miles per hour. The lead locomotive's event data recorder was successfully downloaded on the scene this afternoon, and investigators are currently validating that data. The lead recorder should provide additional data regarding the driver or the engineer's operation of the train. The lead locomotive's forward-facing video recorder hard drive is being transported to the NTSB laboratory in Washington, D.C. for download and evaluation. The refuse truck is also being examined for recorder devices and the possible data that those recorders may contain. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Poland and Mr. Kotowski. As our investigation continues, we encourage any witness with information or video or photographs to contact the NTSB at witness@ntsb.gov. That web address again is witness@ntsb.gov, or call Officer Randy Jamerson at the Albemarle County Police Department, 434-296-5807. That number again, 434-296-5807. To find out about future updates, including media briefings, you can follow us on Twitter. The Twitter handle is @NTSB_newsroom, or our website, which is www.ntsb.gov. The Albemarle County PD asks that media inquiries for them be directed to PIO Madeline Currat at that same number, 434-296-5807. As a reminder, we have members of the public affairs in the room. If you provide them with your business card, we'll add you to the distribution list. Finally, on behalf of the NTSB, I'd like to again thank the Albemarle County Police Department, the FBI Evidence Response Team, and all the first responders for their cooperation and support. Thank you, and we'll take a few questions.
Have you been able to verify if the crossing arms were down at the time of the crash?
We haven't verified that yet. That we will probably be able to verify when we have a chance to look at the forward-facing video camera. That should show us that, plus whistles and so forth.
How many eyewitnesses have you spoken to already?
We have spoken to 4 eyewitnesses.
And were they folks that were in their cars waiting to cross that intersection?
Those witnesses were at various locations and at different segments at the approach to the grade crossing itself.
Thank you, Pete. Yes.
Was there any signal failure at the train crossing? Have you been able to verify any of that?
No, as I said a moment ago, when we have a chance to audition the forward-facing video camera, we should be able to determine how the signals were working. The signal bungalow, which housed the switching and computing equipment for that, got destroyed by the truck. Yes.
Have there been complaints about the signals or the arms at that crossing before?
So the question was, have we any information about the operation of
Any previous complaints?
previous complaints?
Yes, we have, and from our witness reports, we have obtained some information about some issues that occurred at that grade crossing. As Member Weener said, we're in the process of looking at that forward-looking camera, as well as when I mentioned that there were electrical components that are being shipped back to our laboratory. Those are some of the electronic devices that were contained within the signal shack itself that may provide us with information.
So at this point, are you still looking at it as an accident, or are you getting ready to turn it over to the FBI for some intentional act of terror?
At this point, it is still classified as a as an accident, a grade crossing accident. Yes.
Was the truck moving at the time of the crash?
Was the truck moving at the time of the crash?
Yeah.
Again, that's something we will be able to determine once we have the forward-facing video auditioned. Until then, it's just speculation.
Can you give us the name of the other 2 that were injured, the truck crew?
It's not the NTSB's it's the NTSB's policy to not divulge names, but you can get the names from the local authorities.
Is it correct to say, so one of the video cameras was destroyed in the wreck, and you're waiting for the forward-facing video camera footage? Is that what, am I understanding that correctly? No. Can you explain that a little bit?
The engine the lead engine, has a forward-facing video camera system in it. That device has been removed. It's been sent back to our laboratory in Washington, D.C. for review and analysis. There was damage that occurred to it in the crash, so it'll take us some time to deal with.
Okay, but you still think you can retrieve the data from it?
We're always hopeful when we find evidence like that.
Yes.
Is the train still on scene at this point under investigation?
Is the train still on scene? No, the train has been moved to a secure area. And that gives us an opportunity to look for survival factor issues in the train cars.
Any other questions today? I think that'll conclude today's briefing. Thank you very much for your time. And again, if you have any follow-ups, please see me or Keith Holloway.